What's up, everybody? This is Due Time back again with another video, and today we're going to talk about keeping up with the Joneses. Okay, picture this. Let's say one of my friends, he buys a BMW. Okay, I want to buy a BMW, but I can barely afford it, so I'm going to finance it, and I can barely afford the monthly payments. But I'm like, hey, screw it. I want to be seen in a BMW. That same friend, he goes off to the Bahamas, $15,000 vacation luxury resort. I'm like, hey, I deserve that same trip too because I need experiences, right? So I spend $15,000 on a vacation on my credit card, even though I can barely afford that. So what is wrong with that? Okay, because I'm living the exact same lifestyle as he is. There's no difference. The only difference is really that he's paying with cash, I'm paying on credit, and I can barely afford things. Well, we already know that that's not ideal and that's the wrong way to live your financial life. But in this video, I'm going to explain exactly why it's wrong and what would be necessary for it to actually be okay. All right, so before we get into it, make sure you smash that like button. You hit that like button like 30 times and it'll make this channel get 30 times as popular. All right, so let's go. So you want the finer things in life, right? You want that big house, big car, because you've worked hard in your life. You've made some sacrifices. You've been in some low points, and now you deserve it. Now it's time to start living your life, okay? But you don't quite have the cash for it. So you want to live beyond your means, live everything on credit, just to keep up the appearances so everyone knows how successful you really are. Well, what's the first requirement for that? First requirement, in order for that to work, is you need guaranteed debt service. That means your ability to pay your debt. So you need guaranteed income. You can think that maybe you can get a job where you can't get fired, but I mean, not many jobs like that exist. Okay, even the most well-regarded jobs, sometimes the economy could go in the wrong direction and you could lose your job even though you thought it was protected. Like in the medical field, there are many healthcare workers who lost their job during this COVID-19 recession because overall there's been less patients coming into the doctor's office because COVID-19 patients take priority. Okay, so maybe if you have a trust fund where you're getting a monthly payment every month for the rest of your life, then that's guaranteed income. Maybe if you won the lottery and you've got guaranteed monthly payments coming in, but even then that's only going to last for about 2 decades. So what are you going to do after that? For the rest of us, for most of us, there's no such thing as guaranteed income. So living beyond your means is wrong because at some point you may not be able to pay your debts. Okay, so you lose that ability to service your debts and this house of cards just comes crashing down. So the second thing you need is guaranteed access to credit. Because at some point, even though you're able to pay your bills, you're overextending yourself, but you can make the payments, you're going to want more money. You're going to want to spend more money on more stuff. Maybe some sort of good business adventure, investment opportunity comes up, but you need the capital to make it work. Well, if you could get a loan from the bank, then you could do that. But since you're over leveraged, how can you do so? Picture this. Let's say you get sick with some debilitating illness. Okay, maybe a family member gets sick with some debilitating illness and you want to help them out. You need to raise $100,000 to pay for this treatment that you have seen from these doctors in Australia. Okay, your insurance is not going to pay for it because it's not FDA approved. It's completely experimental. You got to pay for this completely out of pocket. Okay, $100,000 plus the cost of flights and hotels to get over there. Right? So where are you going to raise this type of money from? The banks aren't going to loan you anything. They're looking at your credit report and they're thinking, how did you even get access to all this credit? No way. Like you're into debt up to your eyeballs. Okay, and they're not going to give you access to that. You may try and put it on your credit cards, but your credit card is already maxed out. Remember, you're already living in debt up to your eyeballs. You're already maxed out in terms of the banks. Well, what about your social credit, your social capital? Okay, I'm talking about your ability to go to your friends and family and say, hey, I need this money. I need $100,000. What can you give me? So picture this. You've got a job making no more money than your friend or family member, but you're balling out of control, right? Because you want to keep up with these other Joneses over here who are balling out of control. So you've bought this really gigantic house, twice as big as your other friends. You've got this really expensive car. You're living in the nicest neighborhoods. You're taking the most luxurious vacations, $15,000, $20,000 vacations. Okay, you're doing all these fancy things. Meanwhile, your friends or family, they're not making any less money than you are. And they're thinking like, how are you doing all this? Like, they're sacrificing, putting money away for retirement, putting money away for a rainy day, and you're just saying, oh, well, screw that. I want to live my life now because YOLO. I could wake up tomorrow and get hit by a bus. So I need to spend my money now. So what do you think those people are going to say when you need money for anything? They're thinking like, okay, you could have already had that money saved if you were responsible with your finances. But this is a serious matter. Someone's in the hospital, potentially on their deathbed, so they're not going to leave you hanging. So they're going to give you something. But do you think they will give you the same amount of money? Do you think that they will really dig into their life savings to really help you out? Do you think they will really sacrifice something of themselves to help you out when this whole entire time you've been living life like it's a joke, like it's a game, just spending money out of control? And I think you're going to have a lot of trouble there. I think you're going to get a lot less social capital than you otherwise would if you had lived a life of humility. So you're screwed on two fronts. The banks and your friends or family are not going to give you as much money. So that's why when it comes to living beyond your means, you need to have access to credit. You need to have guaranteed access to credit. Now, how would that be possible? I don't know. Maybe if you're some high level person in government and you can just always have unlimited access to money. Who knows? But for the rest of us, the normal guys, we don't have unlimited access to credit. So the last thing you need is a guaranteed peace of mind. Okay, that means you wake up in this big fancy house, you're driving around this Ferrari, you have the peace of mind that this is all gonna last. Think about this, it's not just about you losing all these physical objects or this lifestyle that you have, okay? It's also about your social identity. You built a life around it. Everyone knows you as that guy, that girl who's living it up. They get everything they want out of life. So for you to have that rug pulled out from under you, it's not just like, okay, well, I'll just not live in that big house anymore. No, it's like people are going to be asking you questions like, hey, what happened? And now you're going to have to explain yourself or come up with some sort of excuse. And that's going to be extremely embarrassing for you. So if you don't have that peace of mind, then what's the point of living that life? You're going to constantly be in fear. So that's why you shouldn't live beyond your means unless you can guarantee that peace of mind that it will always last. Well, hey, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. And if you made it this far, just give me a like if you haven't already and leave me a comment. And I want you to answer me this. Are you living beyond your means or are you living within your means? See you next time.